Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Cars and Coffee with me, Kenny Brown, where over the next half hour, whatever it is, we'll talk about some cool tech things. First, I got a question. How many people know what the angle should be on a lower control arm on a live axle car inside to outside? We'll talk about that in a little bit. What about brake pad compounds? Do you know which brake pad compound is best for your application? I've got a little memorabilia to throw in. That seemed to be pretty popular with people. So I thought every week I'd throw a little bit more memorabilia in. So we kind of like a little flash from the past. So here I am, Kenny Brown, and this is Cars and Coffee. And it's interesting. Today's episode is driven solely by your questions. The questions that have come in through the either Facebook or Speed Therapy Society, or through the what we get in here as far as calls through the sales department. Speed Therapy Society. I mentioned that. If you're not aware of it, it's a great private Facebook group. Boy, my tongue just isn't working this morning. It must be the weather. It's kind of cloudy and dank over here. But anyway, the Speed Therapy Society is a great group of people. Lots of information shared, and I strongly recommend that if you're a car guy and want to deal with other car guys of like minds, sign up for it. Let's see. We also we had it's kind of a hiccup this week, so the Speed Therapy Academy is postponed. We're going to start Tuesday, which means we're still going to be taking applications and getting people signed up through week 2 of the academy, because you can always go back and watch the recorded session. So because we've got, Carrie's kind of been out and we've moved, and there's a lot going on around here. We've had to push the academy back. So we're pushing the enrollment back for another couple of weeks. So if you think you might be interested, please get a hold of us. We'll get you some information. And if it's a budgetary thing, we've got financing. So always something to think about. If you really want to learn this stuff, if you think I teach you a lot on Saturday mornings, the academy will just blow you away. So I think let's start with some memorabilia, and I dug out some magazine articles from, I don't know what year this is. Oh, this is from '95. This goes back a ways. It's in '95. I think this one must be around the same, but this is on the Callahan quarter horses that we built. There was a Ford dealership here in Indianapolis called Callahan Ford, and he was kind of like a performance guy and loved Mustangs. So we did a series of Callahan, he called them quarter horses, so Callahan quarter horses, and I can't remember how many sold. A few weeks back, somebody asked how many Callahan.
Okay, everybody. It looks like we've had some issues with our internet service at the shop, so Kenny will be logging back in, it looks like. So that happened. Got it?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, you're a little blurry, but we'll see.
There we go. I'm back on a different camera thing.
Do you want to move yourself to a different camera screen, because you're going to be showing parts? Can you go in there? There you go.
Okay.
And your head's cut off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. We tested this last night on Zoom, and everything worked perfect. This morning, we've had all kinds of hiccups with StreamYard. So we don't know if it's our internet or StreamYard, or it's just like the sunspots or sun flares. So anyway, this article was written by Evan Griffey, and it was in High Tech Performance in '95. And this one was written by Evan Smith, and this was in Muscle Mustangs and Fast Forward. So they were pretty popular when we did them. I can't remember how many.
Can you hold up the other one a little bit too, so we can see it a little longer? Both of them? Yeah, and the other one too. There we go.
Like that.
That's good. Hold up so you can see the cars. That's a pretty interesting car. They're good.
Yeah, they were actually a lot of fun. They were our basic GT4 type package back in, I think, 95, 96, maybe 97, I can't remember. But that's going back a ways. I've had Mustangs and magazines for a very, very long time. But yeah, it was kind of a fun project. And every now and again, we got somebody call us up and says, "Hey, I've got a quarter horse. What can you tell me about it?" So it has a little memorabilia. We'll see what else we can come up with in the weeks coming. So I think we're going to do, I'm going down my list. I'm remembering this without any help. If you're just joining us, I'm Kenny Brown. This is Cars and Coffee. And over the next hour, well, less than an hour now, we're going to be talking a little tech and answering your questions, which reminds me, you can send in questions live, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. If I can't answer them, I will. If I can't answer them, there's no BS here. Either I know the answer or I don't. So please send your questions in, and I'll get to them towards the end. So moving through here, remember I said that about the control arm angle? Well, this is a question from Rob. He says, on a 4-link car, what is the angle of the suspension bars inboard to outboard compared to square? Not an up and down angle. Also, do you plan on making it to any of the days to PRI? Don't have an answer on PRI yet because it's at this stage it's too far off and we got too many things going on. However, on a 4-link, on my suspensions there is no angle. There, that's better. On my suspensions, all the control arms are parallel. Now as far as how all those angled control arms work, we talk a lot about that in the academy in the suspension and geometry section, and what's good and what's bad about them. But the reason that manufacturers angle the control arms is so that the axle becomes self-centering. If the axle is self-centering, they don't have to put like a panel bar in, and that's more cost effective. In the older Mustangs, I think they were out like maybe 3 to 5 degrees on the bottom and about 45 degrees the other way on the top. The new 197s, they're out about maybe 4 or 5 degrees on the bottom. However, if you're doing geometry and let's say we're taking a look at the suspension from up high looking down, plan view, if you were to take the angle of those control arms and draw a line to where they intersect, and in the 197s intersect well behind the car, and take that line and draw it through the roll center, which in the stock Mustang is pretty high, then all of a sudden that gives you kind of a roll axis. And the roll axis of the stock Mustang is kind of like up in the air. Rear suspension roll axis, it kind of points up in the air. So what I do is on our AGS 4.0 rear grip kit, I have offset bushings, front and rear, so that we move the front in and the back out. So we end up with a parallel to center line control arm. And when we're parallel to center line, what that does is that all of a sudden you don't have any line of conversion. So without a line of conversion, that means the intersection point is infinity. At that point, what happens is all of a sudden then you take the rear roll center, and then the roll axis is parallel to the lower control arm, and which we mostly try to have down just a little bit in the front to create real roll understeer. But see, having the control arms straightened out is only one part of our AGS 4.0 suspension system, and specifically the rear grip kit, because there's a lot of elements that make the whole rear grip kit work. Now, for those that maybe haven't heard a lot about the rear grip kit, I'm going to go through it again, just kind of briefly, that's so that it's a system. Yeah, we sell control arms and everything else, but we'd rather sell the entire system because every single component is engineered specifically to work with every other single component. So like this, by having the control arm, also notice these are really light, aluminum radius rods. And I dropped down to, most people use a great big clunky 3/4 rod end. I dropped down to the 5/8, but we use a super high grade professional level 5/8 rod end that's Teflon lined, so there's no noise and it lasts a long time. So, but the whole idea, this works with, by going parallel, that works with the roll center. Okay, speaking of the roll center, what we do, where the panel bar crosses the center line of the car, that's your rear roll center. That's the point that the back of the car wants to roll around, like going through a corner. And if you've got a stock suspension, I'm sure that you felt going around the corner, like the inside tire gets a little loose or gets light. And if you get to the gas too soon, the back of the car gets kind of whippy. So by moving the panel bar down, you see how much we move the panel bar down. From there down to there. By moving the panel bar down, we lower the roll center at the bottom of the differential, which is pretty much as theoretically as low as you can get a roll center on a live axle car. I said theoretically. I'm back, everybody says, well, what's the link panel bar? What's the difference? Watts link actually is better at centering the axle. It's the best way to center the axle. However, wherever that center pin is, that's your roll center. And you can never get that roll center down very low, like we do with the panel bar at the bottom of the differential. In the Trans Am days, we used to take and mount a Watts link horizontal to the bottom of the differential, so we'd get the benefits of a Watts, but we also have the roll center on the bottom of the diff. Well, that's what we do with the roll center relocation kit, because we move it all the way down to the bottom of the differential. And again, we have a really nice, super heavy duty aluminum radius rod. They actually look really cool underneath the car. So that's kind of how the roll center is working with the lower control arms. Okay, so what else works together? Well, the axle brackets and the upper control arm module is how that is kind of, they work together too. Now these are our axle brackets, and sure you've seen a lot of other people's axle brackets out there that have a lot of holes, and the great big part of the thing comes up in the back, and it's they seem clunky. This is pretty straightforward, and you can notice there's only one hole. The reason for that is I've already done the engineering, and I've picked the location for the lower control arm that creates the instant center I'm looking for. Now, what is the instant center? The instant center is you look at the car sideways, and again, if you draw a line, lower control arm, upper control arm, the point of conversion is called the instant center. And wherever that instant center is dictates how much anti-squat there is in the car, or how fast you get weight on the tires for traction. And the other part of that is the upper control arm module works together with the axle brackets. Now this is different. You probably did a lot different than anything else you've seen out there for a couple of reasons. Well, first of all, the control arm is longer than stock. Secondly, the pickup point has been moved. Like I say, I put the pickup points for the lower control arm and the upper control arm, so I get the instant center I'm looking for, so I'm getting the anti-squat I'm looking for. And the thing about this is, you notice our upper control arm is curved. With a really good reason for that. When we run cars fairly low on track, or even on the street, if you hit a big bump and you've got a straight upper control arm, it's going to crash into the tunnel. So I don't know why more people don't curve their upper control arms, but we do, and it works very well. So it's kind of like an entire system that works together. So we've got the upper control arm module, the axle brackets are creating the instant center, which is anti-squat, and anti-squat is also anti-lift under braking, so the back of the car doesn't want to hop up. And then the panel bar moves all the way down to the bottom of the front to the lower the roll center. And the lower control arms are parallel, so we bring the roll axis down parallel to the lower control arms. The other thing about bringing the rear roll center down, if you've gone around a quarter fast in a Mustang, it feels like, first thing you feel is you turn in and it kind of let you start to get some understeer or a push. And that's because what's happening is the front roll center and the lower Mustang is really low. It's like at ground or below ground, and the rear is really high. So it's kind of like this. So as you go into a corner and the car starts to roll, it's rolling all that way up on the outside front tire, which is why you can turn in, but then you get like understeer through the corner, and then you have to wait for the axle to settle because, again, the roll center is high to get back to the gas. That's a typical Mustang going around the corner. But what I do with the AGS 4.0, the rear suspension, obviously we bring the rear roll center down. The front grip kit, we bring the front roll center up so it's a lot flatter, which means going around the corner, you're not rolling up on that outside tire, which means we're taking a lot of the understeer away. Plus, we've got other geometry in the front grip kit that helps the car. I mean, the car's just turned. You know, it's not like people are amazed how they're used to fighting with understeer through a corner, and with a rear grip kit, front grip kit, the car's just turned. In fact, my suspension only has 3 components: the rear grip kit, the front grip kit, the springs and shocks. So, and like I say, all the engineering's done. All you have to do is bolt it on, follow instructions, and the cars will handle it like crazy. So also by front roll center up, rear roll center down, the car doesn't push as much through the corner, and you don't have to wait as long for the axle to settle, so you get back to the gas a lot sooner, which means you're making the next straightaway longer. And because we've got anti-dive in the front and anti-lift in the back, you can brake a lot later than anybody else, which makes that straightaway longer. So we make the straightaways longer and the corners shorter because the car will rotate really well with the front geometry and then the way we do the roll centers. So, you know, that gets back to the original question. I don't do splayed control arms. Everything I do is parallel. But if you do a parallel control arm, you have to use something to locate the axle, lateral location of the axle. In this case, it's a panner bar. But like I say, you know, factory cars that have double splayed control arms, that's simply because they use that to center the axle. So it makes it simple and inexpensive for the manufacturers. If you have any more questions than that, you certainly please go online and set up a 15-minute consult with me, and I can talk it through more with you if you have something more specific that you'd like to know. Okay, now we have Andy. How much at all will winter tires help on 2019 Mustang GT in the Midwest? Well, the Midwest, we kind of have crappy winters. And the tires that come on, like on the GTs or even the performance pack are, well, it depends on which tires you get on your car. If you've got all season tires, then you're okay. If you've got like the performance pack, we've got summer tires, and summer tires in cool weather, it's not a good combination. They don't grip. There's no grip, especially when it gets cold. But, you know, if you're going to drive your Mustang in the winter, I would suggest some really good high performance all season tires. And I just did a really quick, pulled up the tire rack and did a really quick search. And the Continental has something called the Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus. And the ratings on it, customer ratings, are really high for all types of performance, including snow and rain. So, I mean, if you and they weren't that expensive. So, I mean, if you need to drive your Mustang in the wintertime and you're up here in the Midwest where it gets kind of cold and chilly, absolutely, it'd be a best idea to get yourself some good high performance all season tires because they'll work in the wintertime, and the summer tires that come on the Mustangs, I can tell you, are not going to work. As soon as you get below about 50 degrees, all of a sudden the grip's going to go away. They're not going to grip; they're going to spin. So, winter tire, all-season tires for the winter, summer tires for the summer, track tires for the track. Okay, so here's another one. Brian wanted to know: did I ever experiment with an SLA front suspension on a 79 to 04 chassis? Good question. Well, why don't I do this? The answer is yes. We did a number of years ago I did a narrow track version of my 197 double wishbone suspension for a good friend of mine who was racing American Iron at NASA. I can't remember what year car it was. I think it was a New Edge. But I put together, we tried to adapt the S197 double wishbone, and it just would not go. So what I did is I was at a shop, friend of mine who used to work for Riley and Scott as a fabricator. And what I ended up doing is I ended up drawing out the pickup points on the floor with a Sharpie. And then with all the dimensions of height and everything, and he just kind of built the suspension in midair, and actually turned out to work pretty good. Is it coming back? Yeah, but it's a good year away, at least a year away, maybe more. We've got a set of prototype parts, but we've got so much going on right now. I got a huge new product development pipeline. It's in there, but it's a ways away. So that's the answer to your question. And question is yes. So, okay. And next question. This is from Bill. Are you going to release small batches of
Okay, it looks like we're having a few more technical difficulties. I'm sure Kenny's going to be logging right back on. There he is. He's coming back on right now. As we see it.
I don't know why it does that. I see your picture. There we go.
There we go. And
you've got a whole different.
Always technical difficulties. This time it is the internet. So again, Brad, if you want to add the link for the 15-minute consult for Kenny so people can join in. If you have any questions for Kenny on anything or any car-related questions, he offers a free service, a free 15-minute consult. You can talk to him about any tech questions you have. If you want him to help you create a build plan going forward, if you have any questions on track days, Performance Street, or actually racing, he's available to talk to you. So click the link and sign up on his calendar, and you'll have an appointment with him.
Okay, getting back to, I don't know what's going on with this morning. It must be sun flares or something, because everything has been acting up since before we're getting everything ready. Anyway, getting back to MN12 or the T-Birds back in the 90s. And we did do, because that my apprentice engineer that worked with me back then, Chuck, was a T-Bird guy. We did have a small group of T-Bird parts that we manufactured and sold. But when we brought the company back, it's like there's not enough demand or volume to even think about going back to like the MN12 cars. We've got more things that we can do right now. So the answer is, unfortunately, we don't have any plans to do it again. It says that he'd love to have another shock tower bar from 96 to match the one that was 95. What you might do is see if there's any like fabricators around the area that can take the one you've got and copy it and make you another one. That would be my best suggestion. Okay, let's see. And Bill wants to know, on your front grip kit for the 94 and 95 Mustangs with the 5-liter pushrod engine, what parts or modifications do I need to install this on a 88 to 93 Fox body? Okay, well, to answer that question, Bill, let's do this. This is the installation instructions for that K member. And if we scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, right here, you can see the modifications need to be made for a Fox body to put our SN95 K member on. Let me blow it up just a little bit more. I will say on most Fox bodies, the production tolerances on Fox bodies is not very good. So I would say on most Fox bodies, this is about all you really need to do to get the K member to fit. So you have our front grip kit, SN95 front grip kit for the, it'll be their 9495, the 5-liter one for the Fox body. So yeah, it looks pretty cool in there, doesn't it? Okay, so that was Bill. And okay, Kathy needs upgraded brake pads on a 550 Mustang with performance pads. And we offered G-Lock. What do you like so much about these, and what types of compounds do you offer? I use the car for light street and track, brake rotor temperatures, never get above 800 degrees. Brake rotor temperatures, people, if you haven't been with me for a while, we actually, I pick brake compounds based off of what the maximum rotor temperature is, and we actually have, I should have brought some out. We actually have rotor temperature paint that you paint on your rotor, and it'll change colors as the temperature increases. And the big answer is we've got a whole ton of compounds. We've got, and the reason we've switched over to the G-Lock for our track day guys is a couple of things. They're more cost effective than some of the other brands. Also, they seem to be pretty darn good on rotors. They treat rotors pretty well. And the third thing is on the track pads, we can get them pre-bedded. So you don't have to waste an entire session bedding your brake pads, Saturday morning. And you can get straight to getting your tire temperatures and your pressure set. But to give you an idea, we've got a really nice performance street pad that has a really good initial bite and torque. And it's easy on rotors, low dust, and it's good from ambient all the way up to 800 degrees, which is typically most street cars will never get over 800 degrees. They're more than likely to be in the, I've never checked this, but I'm just guessing 400 to 500 range. And then we've got a specific pad for autocross that's really kind of cool. Its temperature range goes from 0 to 1,000 degrees. It's got excellent initial bite and high coefficient of friction at lower temperatures, along with progressive modulation. That's specifically what we call our autocross pad, because it's got bite right now, and if you get the brakes really hot, I mean you're covered up to 1,000 degrees. But you start getting into like the autocross pads, you could drive them on the street to the track, but if you drove them very much on the street, then you're going to get some dust and maybe some noise. So like I say, it's great for autocross. Then we start getting into our track day tires, track day pads. And we've got the combination that most of our guys are using are the 12s and the 10s. The 10s on the rear, and they're good from 118 degrees up to 1475. And the 12s on the front are from 173 up to 1860. And that will cover most track day people, even ones that don't have brake ducts. Of course, without brake ducts, they're going to wear a lot faster, but at least they're not going to fade and go away. And if you think those are high temperatures on my car with brake ducts, my Mustangs, I'm typically seeing around 1,200 degrees rotor temperature. And somebody asked if we can use an infrared infrared temperature gauge to check the rotor temperature, and no. All that's going to tell you is what the rotor temperature is sitting still. What we want to know is what's the maximum temperature that rotor sees under hard braking. I'm sure you've seen, like in some of the Daytona 24 hours or Le Mans, the night races, you see the front brakes glowing red in the dark. Well, that's the temperature we want to know. What is the maximum temperature that are going? And then for the really serious competition people, we've got some race pads that the rears would be the 16s that would go from 255 to 2,000 degrees, and the fronts from 610 up to 2,100 degrees. And that's for serious competition where you're running brake rotor temperatures in the 1,600 degree range. We had one customer, I was talking to, getting some brake pads for him, and he said he had a set of G-Locks, and they didn't work for him at all. He hated them. Well, I asked what compound he had, and he had a GT350 a GT500, and it was a track day car. And somebody sold him a set of the 18s, the race compounds, which go from 610 to 2100. Well, the range of 610 to 2100, to be in the really operating range of those, where they really want to live, you're going to have 1,1600 degree rotor temperature. I guarantee you GT500 is not going to see that much rotor temperature. If you have too aggressive of a brake pad, and like for this guy, what was happening is he was not getting the brake pads up to their optimum operating temperature, which meant he's running them cold, which means they're not going to work very well. They're going to be noisy, they're going to make dust, and they're not going to stop all that great. Here's something that you can use to sell if your brake pads are too hard. If I don't know if you've seen like some people in videos and stuff, their brake pads will kind of, going around the corner, will kind of squeal a little bit, or they'll make some noise. If they're making noise, the compound's too hard. You need to drop that compound down a heat range, because you're not in the optimum operating range of that brake pad. And of course, don't forget, you always have to have high temperature brake fluid. We've got, about a year or so ago, we switched over to the Bear brake fluid. It's more cost effective than some of the others, and actually has one of the highest dry boiling points, which is good. Costs less, higher dry boiling point. Okay, I think I've got to all the questions. So my question is, do you have a question? Have we got any questions that have come in?
So one thing that Rory is mentioning is that the solar flares are to blame for the internet interruptions. So he's seen that as well. So that's probably why we had some interruptions. Now's the time to add your questions. So feel free to ask Kenny anything you'd like. Kenny, while that's coming in, can you see the chat to see who's in here?
No,
Dave Robinson from Niagara. He's here every week. He's on the Canadian side. Hi, Dave. And Fred Francher is here every week as well. He's from Louisville, Kentucky. We have somebody from Snowy Buffalo. That may be Jay. I can't see the Facebook username on that. We also have Jeffrey Williams. He's saying hi from Massachusetts. And of course, we have Joe Johnson from Humboldt, Texas. So
Joe was one of our Speed Therapy Academy alumni, and he learned a lot.
So, and then we also have Roy Merrick, and he's from Maple Ridge, British Columbia. And John Walsham, I'm guessing he's from Indiana, because he didn't realize that we were in Indianapolis. So he's kind of curious about that. I would expect, John, you would be visiting us shortly. So we will welcome you by our facility. Let's see.
Speaking of which, since we moved and we've got a little more space here, if people want to join me for Cars and Coffee on Saturday, we do have some space. If clubs are coming through town and want to stop by, or if you got a small group that just want to come by and hang out, we actually have the space now. So that's something else I can put in people's heads. We
also have Kobe from Kobe Ward. He's here. He's here usually every week. We also have George from George from New Jersey. So that's cool. Rob from Florida is here. We have lots of people here. Just so people know, we are simulcasting live on 3 different stations. One is the Kenny Brown channel, YouTube channel. Also the Kenny Brown Speed Therapy Society private Facebook group. If you're not part of that, you might want to join that. It's a pretty interesting group of like-minded individuals. And we're also simulcasting live on the Kenny Brown Performance Facebook page. So it's pretty interesting. Now, if you have any questions, make sure you add them. Oh, we have Jack Sieber from Omaha, Nebraska. Kenny, I think you know him from years ago, don't you? Jack Sieber?
I need some refreshing.
So
yeah, we were in Omaha for a long time, and before we moved to Indianapolis. And then before that, I saw somebody from New Jersey. I grew up outside of Philadelphia. So as a youth, The Jersey Shore was always a popular place on for the big weekends. We'd go over to Ocean City during the day, to hang out, and then sometimes at night we go down to Wildwood because the girls were better down there. But that's a long time ago.
Oh, that's silly. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any questions coming in. No question, guys.
No question, Jay.
Yeah, somebody has to have a question. The other thing, what else is happening around the shop? You're starting to work on some new product development now that we're in our new facility. Are you ready to share that, or is it still?
We're supposed to. We haven't started yet, but we got everything laid out. The next, we launched the K-Link AGS 4.5, and that's the results we're getting from that is positively phenomenal. We've got guys that are not picking up, when they put the suspension on, they're not picking up like tenths of a second improvement in lap times. They're picking up seconds, and a lot of them. I think the least number of seconds improvement that we've heard on lap times was 3 seconds improvement. And if he'd have listened to me and made an adjustment, he'd have picked up at least another 1.5 seconds, maybe 2. They've got a lot of guys picking up 4 seconds. David out in the West Coast with his Boss 302S, Ford Racing Boss 302S race car. The difference between the Boss 302S and my full 4.5 suspension, complete with the JRZ RS Pros double adjustable remote canister, and of course, our Pro 4R brakes. He picked up his first time out, picked up 8 seconds at Sonoma. And after a debrief on the phone, he picked up another 2 seconds the next day. So, 4.5 is really, really working well. And then we also, so the next thing that's on the list is the double wishbone, the SLA that I started back a long, long time ago. We've got the body of white over here. We pulled all the pieces out of storage. They're laying on the floor. We haven't put it up. But we're going to start looking at getting the double wishbone put together for the front. That's next spring maybe, best case scenario. And then, like we talked about, the SLA for the like the Fox SN95 cars. But also, I really want to do a new rear suspension for those cars. But again, that's at least a year and a half off. Nobody's done a decent suspension for those cars. Since we had our Track Kit Plus, and we had somebody call that has one of the original early cars with the Track Kit Plus on that absolutely loves it. He says it still handles like a dream. Although the original Coney Reds have got like 20 years on them, so we're going to upgrade him to better satisfaction. We're going to go to Coney Yellows and upgrade him a little bit. So. Yeah, there's a lot of things I want to do. It's all just, time, people, and money is always the issue. So I've got lots of things in my head that I want to get out there. So
here's a comment from this is from Brant, not Claudette. Brant actually is the first person in Canada to purchase your 4.5 or the K-Link, and he has a comment here now. So I don't know if you want to read it or if you want me to read it.
Handling is so good that I have to ask if the K-Link actually has a better handling system than an IRS. Oh, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like they're completely different. The IRS, the advantage of the IRS is you've got really good traction on bumpy tracks because you got the wheels working independently. But the thing about the K-Link that makes it, 4.5 that makes it pretty unique is like on a standard S197, as far as spring rates, like for a track car, we'll run something like a 650 front and a 400 rear. And that's kind of the way that typically it'll work out. Well, the K-Link creates so much rear traction that we have to go way up on rear spring rate to get the car balanced. Otherwise, turning is great, and then I'll just push because the back of the car has so much grip. Just pushes the front of the car. And what we ended up doing is we end up running like on our IRS cars, we'll run pretty much the same spring rate front and rear. Well, with the 4.5, we're running the same spring rate front and rear. So there's a similarity to the IRS. The other thing that's a similarity is on like our 9904 Cobras and all the IRS packages we do, we run a really, really low roll center. It's just not that far off the ground. The K-Link actually runs the same roll center. So there's a lot of similarities. I think the advantage to the K-Link would have over an IRS is because it's live axle. You've got a lot of anti-squat, and you've got a lot better drive off the corner than an IRS car. So does it handle better? I'd say there are advantages and disadvantages to both. But, you know, with the K-Link, I mean, it just does everything so well. You know, being able, because live axle car is a drag racing car. You know, IRS cars don't make good drag racers. So if you can get like the launch and the forward bite of a live axle car, but with the spring rate and roll center of a IRS, plus with the K-Link, we actually decouple axle roll and body roll. So no matter how much the body rolls, axle straight length, flat on the ground, both tires have the same amount of weight on it all the time. So yeah, I mean, it's like it's a toss up. You know, my IRS works pretty good for the 99 to 04 Cobras. I think with a high horsepower car, I'd be happier with the K-Link, just because it has the advantage of the forward bite and the fact that it decouples axle roll and body roll. So it's kind of like a roundabout answer to the question.
So why don't you talk about the picture behind you, the painting behind you?
Okay, that was painted by a local Indianapolis artist by the name of Ron Burton. When we first moved to Indy back in '94, kind of like the place to hang out was, what was the name of that place?
The Union Jacks.
Union Jacks pub. Like a lot of the race people hung out at Union Jacks. And Ron Burton had a helmet collection there, an amazing helmet collection, and then also a lot of his paintings. He did everything in acrylic. And Carrie got together with Ron, and she actually commissioned him. I'll go this way now. Commissioned him to paint this, and it's called Kenny's Wild Horses. And in the picture are some of the Mustangs we had in magazines back then. Looks like you might not be able to see them all. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different Mustangs in the picture. So it's kind of like it's a really cool picture. You know, it's near and dear to me. Yeah, if anybody's seen any other Ron Burton work, it's pretty amazing. I actually had somebody sent me. They were at some sort of driving event at Mid Ohio. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but they had some whole bunch of pro drivers working with the people, and Ron Burton was actually there doing sketches of everybody. So he was pretty excited when I said that was a Ron Burton work. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And the car, the drawing of the car in the background, that's pretty prominent. It used to be the logo for our company, so that was our old logo.
I kind of like that logo.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I'm guessing we haven't had any more questions come in.
We have a couple more. Tim. Hi, Tim. Tim Tomasak. Good. He said, good morning from Michigan. I have the rear grip kit on my 13 Boss. When I raise the rear with the floor jack under differential, when the tires leave the ground, the body will sway side to side. Why is that?
Okay, let me think about that. When you raise it off the ground, the body will sway side to side. I'm thinking. Well, I mean, if you're jacking it up under the differential, there's a panner bar on there, and the panner bar swings in an arc, and the panner bar is on an arc. So if it's going one way, I mean, it'll push the axle one way or the other way. So I'm guessing that's what you're seeing is the arc from the panner bar would be moving the car, because it's not just a straight shot. It's on an arc, which means as you're jacking it up or down, it's going to pull the axle in one of the other directions. I wouldn't call it swaying side to side. It does move, but it moves because the panner bar is moving in an arc. And it's a long panner bar. Okay, have anybody else?
Let's see here. We have Brian West, who had made a comment on the K-Link. He also has it on his car. He said, also say the higher the horsepower, the more you need the K-Link. So he's confirming what you said, Kenny.
Yep, and Brian's got a Roush, a really nice Roush.
Yep, and then let's see. This is Brian. He's not Claudia. This is I think Brian Freshen said that for sure, Brian, with the K-Link, you can really get the power, especially coming out of turns.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, is because we segregate or decouple axle roll and body roll going around the corner. You don't have to wait for the axle to settle to get back to the gas. As soon as you turn the wheel, the axle is already settled. Both tires down, equal weight on both tires. You just get to the gas right then, which means you just power through the corner and you just get incredible launch off the corner, which means you get really great terminal speed at the end of the straightaway. Okay, anybody else this morning, Carrie?
Let's see. I think that's kind of about it that I see as far as questions. And we did find out that Jack Seaver has Dave Bittner's 85 Super GT now. That's why I think we've talked to Jack lately. So
cool.
About Dave Bittner's car. So that is pretty cool. Okay, if anybody doesn't know, Kenny was based in Omaha, Nebraska for a number of years. And then Joe Johnson has another comment. Kenny, love to see you at a local Opel track event, to be able to visit in person. Love to see one of your great cars on track. So
fingers crossed. I mean, it's like I say, it's in the plans. There's no date on when that might happen. Like I said, we just got so much going on.
I'm hoping to get a couple of
traffic spins. There's a couple of days this week. I didn't even get to turn my coffee pot on until lunchtime. If that tells you anything. And you guys know how much I love my coffee.
So anyway, we are going to, this is the new studio that we're in. We're working on adjusting it. We're getting some new signage. And we'll probably show you the whole studio at another date. We're working on still camera angles and everything. So it's a pretty cool area. Kenny can do a lot more in here. Also, eventually we're going to be able to get out in the shop and you'll be able to go into the cars and show you different things that we're working on. So that's sort of where we're heading with Cars and Coffee. Also expect some more guests in 2022. And we're going to be changing up the format a little bit. So we're really excited about that. Yeah,
actually, I don't know if you guys noticed, we've been playing with the lights. I think we've got a little better lighting this week than we had last week. And something weird that happened is I got like a new camera on a tripod so we could try to get really, really crisp pictures. And it worked perfectly last night on Zoom. I mean, absolutely perfectly. Of course, this morning when we hooked everything up, it wouldn't work at all. So we had to go back to my older camera that I had been using. But yeah, we're going to try to keep making improvements as we go along. I mean, I'm kind of happy with the way the lighting worked out this morning. I think it's a lot better than last week.
So if you guys have any subjects that you'd like Kenny to cover in the upcoming Cars and Coffee, please put them in the comments, because that's what spurs what he talks about. So just kind of think and add the comments, what you'd like him to talk about. I know next week, Kenny, I think you're talking about you're going to have a mini shock seminar. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. I think I forgot about that. Yeah, we actually, as luck would have it, we've got a bunch of suspension systems going out. And we're going to have one of each of the 3 shock packages that we offer for the S197 cars. H&R, Strange, and JRZ. So we'll do kind of like a little mini shock seminar on that. And like the Speed Therapy Academy starts this Tuesday night. We're going to leave registration open up through the second week of the Academy. If anybody thinks they might be interested. If you might be interested, do it. I mean, you will learn so much. You're going to be positively amazed at how much knowledge and information you come away from after the 16 weeks. And if it's a budgetary thing, then get together with Carrie. We've got payment plans that gets it down to, I think Carrie said, like $150 or something. Well, what was the minimum, Carrie?
Yeah, the very minimum is $150 a month. So
Okay.
it's pretty affordable.
So with that, and then of course, any of our Academy members get lots of perks. At the end, they get their certificate of accomplishment. Okay, and then they get their polo shirt. I don't have polo shirt on today because it's chilly, damp, and drizzly this morning. So I opted for a long sleeve shirt. And then of course they get their Speed Therapy Academy notebook. Okay. And then they get a lot of other perks. They get 10% discount on Kenny Brown products. I get 10% discount on Bear brake products, which is like brake kits and rotors. And then we also we talked about brake pads. If you're an Academy member or alumni, you get your track pads are pre-bedded for free, which just saves so much time at the track. And of course, you've got a lot of access to me. If you're trying to get your car sorted out or driving, I'm here. As you guys know, this is you can't get what I talk about anyplace else on the internet or anywhere for that matter. So the Academy is if you want to be the guy at the track that knows what the heck he's doing, then the Academy is for you. Or if you're doing autocross, last time we had I think 2 or 3 autocrossers in the Academy, and we've also had like a couple 3 streetcar guys in the Academy too that just want to learn more about their cars and how they work. So please, if you're interested, sign up. If you have any friends that think they might be interested, get them in touch with Carrie or Rich, and we can get them fixed up. So if we don't have any more questions today.
We actually have one that snuck in here and some future topics as well. So we'll talk about that. One thing I wanted to add about your mini shock workshop is that the shocks you're covering, I think we may have an SN95 in there, and then the JRZs flow right over to the S550. So it's not just for S197s, this workshop. It's for all cars.
Yeah, the GRZs cross over the 550s, and the Strange cross back to the SN95 and Fox.
So you're covering H&R, Strange, and JRZs. It's the 3 shocks that Kenny will be covering and showing you. Let's see. Colby has a question. What do you think about the possibility of the S650 having all-wheel drive and hybrid drive?
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, there's all-wheel drive is really the hot ticket. And a lot of your really high-end sports cars will have all-wheel drive because you got four wheels driving it. Of course, the front and rear is biased. But the interesting thing is when the GT350s came out, when I saw the spindle, I thought it was quite curious because the way the spindle was laid out, there was a hole in the middle. And as soon as I saw that spindle, I knew that at some point a front drive electric motors was coming, because that's the only thing that makes sense for them to have a hole in the middle of the spindle. I mean, it looked like a spindle for the back of the car, where you've got the axle going through the spindle. So I mean, I'm not surprised. I think it'd be pretty darn cool. Probably pretty darn expensive too, but everything's getting more expensive. Yeah, I think. I mean, the hybrid it seems to be a really hot thing. I prefer that to just pure electric right now. I mean, like Formula One cars. I mean, those are hybrid applications. They have electric motors and internal combustion motors, and they make buckets of power. Although they're only rear wheel drive, not all wheel drive. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I would like to see that. And like I say, as soon as I saw the GT350 spindles a number of years back, I knew right away that at some point they were going to have electric motors driving the front wheels. So that was my guess when the first GT350s first came out.
And Brad says that they're running behind on building the next gen. So Ford's behind by about a year.
That doesn't surprise me. Everybody's behind right now.
Yeah. And then here's a comment that George would like you to talk about in one of your upcoming Cars and Coffee sessions is SN95 improvements.
Okay,
So-
yeah, let me think about that. I mean, we don't have, our SN95 like suspension has been focused on the IRS cars because we do IRS better than anybody else in the aftermarket. But yeah, I can talk about I can talk about that. I like the SN95s. I mean, I'd like to build another one. Currently, my little green 2001 Mustang that we turned into like a cool Cobra with the IRS, and that was the first car to have the full-on IRS with all the geometry changes, and that car was so much fun to drive. Of course, it had a prototype 4.6 Ford Racing FR500 engine in it, which gave it lots of go. But yeah, there's some things we could talk about. You more interested in chassis or power, or I can talk about all of it. I can kind of make a list of things that you can do. So.
And then Brian West, getting back to electric car, he says patent pictures show electric motors hung off the block.
Yeah, that's about the best place to put them. I mean, if I was doing it, I mean, I'd have them like down low, because you can get small, pretty compact electric motors now. That's the only place it makes sense to put them is right below the front of the motor, just you go straight out to the spindles.
And then we have a comment from Rory. Hi, Rory. Is there a better brand of bearing to be buying for rear 04 IRS Cobra spindles?
Unfortunately, no. That is like the really weak point on the IRS spindles in the back is the bearings. Long time ago, 2003, I think, with our World Challenge, we did a World Challenge GT Cobra, Mustang Cobra, with a customer, and with the IRS in the back and our front grip kit in the front, and dry sump motor, I mean the whole thing, and we were continually having problems with rear pad knockback, and so what we decided to do, it's kind of a long way around the story, but what we decided to do is we bolted the spindle to the steel beams. We made a bracket, welded a bracket to it, and bolted the spindle, took a big bar, and it was pretty easy to move that spindle back and forth. So we'll fix this. So what we did is we put some reinforcement on the back of the spindle, and we made it really rigid. And then we headed off to do a day of testing with Ford Racing at Groton. And the car lasted maybe about 3 laps. And then all of a sudden, the one wheel, axle, and everything went shooting across the track. It separated itself from the car. And what had happened is there was so much movement. We firmed up the spindle, okay? So then it falls to the next weak point. There's so much movement in the rear wheel bearings that the rotor actually came over and wore through the spindle where the lower cross-axis joint is, wore through that, and it broke and the whole thing came out. So, I mean, yeah, we've talked about doing a spindle in the back, but the bearing thing is the sticking point. Trying to come up with, you can only go with, it has to be conical bearings, opposed conical bearings, and that's the only way you can carry a lot of load. The bearings rear axle bearings that are on the Cobras are actually front wheel bearings off a Taurus, I think, and they're double row ball bearing. If you get double ball bearings, they just roll round and round, which means that, if you go like this, it doesn't change, and they don't take any load at all. So if we did one, it would have to have like conical bearings that were at an angle opposing each other, so it wouldn't move. And that is the real sticking point. We're talking about it. We've had some meetings on it. We so far haven't had a lot of time put into it. But that's the sticking point, is that you're coming up with a bearing pack that's going to be able to take lots of load. So unfortunately, no, we just replace them really often. We always used to carry a couple with us when we went to the track because we know they're going to get worn out. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but unfortunately I don't. At least I don't know of any. I don't know if anybody else out there does.
Okay, so that kind of wraps it up for today. I just wanted to remind everybody that next week Kenny is having a mini we'll call it a coilover shock workshop. You're going to talk a lot of tech about shocks, and then also show the 3 shock packages that we use and the differences between them. If you have friends, this would be a good time to invite them next week. Again, they can view on the Kenny Brown YouTube channel, Kenny Brown Performance YouTube channel, Kenny Brown Performance Facebook page, and also then Kenny Brown's Speed Therapy Society private Facebook group. So please invite your friends. And if you like what Kenny showed you today, please give him a few thumbs up. And I guess, Kenny, I'll let you sign off and we'll say goodbye.
Okay, well, I'm glad you could join us today. I just thought of something else, and then I forgot right away. Must be the sun flares. It's giving me a short circuit in my head. So we appreciate you showing up. Oh, I know what I was going to say. This is actually episode 75. I mean, I never would have believed this, but over a year ago, when we did the first couple, we'd make it to episode 75. And all the episodes up through today can be found in the Kenny Brown Performance TV YouTube page. And we've got a lot of all the content, all 75 episodes are in there. Plus Brad's cut out bits and pieces, so we have sort of like a whole bunch of little tech things in there. So I mean, it's a great place to to go if you want to try to figure something out or learn something. Check out the Kenny Brown Performance TV YouTube channel. And then also, of course, if you've got more technical questions and need help with something, build plan for your car, or something that isn't working right, sign up for one of my 15-minute consults. I think you can do that on our webpage. And Brad typically puts that up somewhere. Yeah, it's on here somewhere. I think I'm the only guy out there that will actually take time to talk to people about their problems with real information. Remember, I started this because there was so much bad information on the internet. I tell people the 2 worst places to get information for your car is the internet and the paddock. And of course, the guy down the street that knows everything too. I have to throw that into there. So anyway, if it's a question you need answer to, you need help with a build plan, and what do you do first so you don't have to redo things, then set up a 15-minute consult. I'll be happy to talk to you. And then also anybody that gets a coilover setup, we'll talk about this next week. I actually have a personal conversation with you to find out how you use your car, what the horsepower is, what the tires are, and then I will personally pick spring rates specifically for your application, so that'll work really well. So with that, I think I'm chattering on here, so we will probably sign off for today. Everybody, I'm glad you could join us. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week. Academy guys, I'll see you Tuesday night. So have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching.